Yeah, every time I go live, somebody's outside doing something. Somebody was just now like playing their music real loud, and I just have got to have the nosiest dog because like he's like we be communicating with obviously no words,
Yep.
but it'll be like I'll hear something outside, or I'll be like, "Is it raining?" Or what is that? Or whatever. He automatically tries to go to the bedroom window, but it's too high. So then he'll stand in the door and like put one of his paws up and be like, like, "You coming? Let's go see what it is."
Yes.
Oh, he
No,
knows like
he's pretty funny.
that is my fault though,
He
because
is
I'm
a
ugly,
funny little character. I love him so much.
spoiled. But
Anyway,
anyway, welcome
welcome
to
back, everyone.
another week. It seems like it's been so many days this week, even though it was a short work week. But so much stuff has happened though.
So much. There's so many things that are okay. First of all, there's so much happening in the world. But first, let me ask you, how have you been doing? How's your week? I feel like we just
really
talked, even though we didn't.
We didn't. I realized that earlier today when I went to go ask you that question. I was like, I haven't really talked to her this week or whatever. But this week, like I said, it was long and short at the same time. But
right.
But I mean, everything's on the up and up over here. I'm coming to acceptance of how old my child is. Right. Just watching him like handle his business, and then I found myself thinking back to when I was that age, like what was I thinking? Like, what kind of mind frame was I in? And of course, I was in the mind frame of I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? And I was just thinking about how he must feel with some of the things that he's like dealing with right now, like experiencing and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you know what? He's doing a great job. So anyway,
I'm so proud of him, Young. He's so much smarter. I'm telling you that he's so much smarter than I know I was. I can't really speak for
like
that age, but I was definitely not as smart as he is now when I was his age.
And we didn't have a lot of that stuff that they have, this stuff that they have too, to help us. But
well, that's true. But also I find myself at my big age getting distracted by some of it. And it's like, I can't even imagine what he must be thinking and going through. But the fact that he's still doing good and he's staying focused, I'm so proud of him, Young. I just can't.
Yeah.
It's just
now I'm pretty sure he's, being a almost 21-year-old, but
sure.
But
all the fun stuff. He shouldn't cut out the fun stuff, but what I did was I just did all the fun stuff and none of the, you know what I'm saying? None of
the. I know that.
I was just like, as soon as I got caught wind that I don't have to do anything else, like, what? Fuck this out.
I'm an adult.
School. I'm about to give me a job.
Do whatever I want, or not do whatever I want.
Yeah, I'm about to move. I'm about to get some liquor. I'm about
if there was a time when. Oh my God, there was a time when I had to have plans on Thursday and Friday night, or Friday and Saturday night. If I did not have any plans, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? But now, as a full-grown adult, I'm like, you know what? If it's a night where I don't have nothing to do, I'm so welcome to that.
It's a blessing.
Anyway, I'm in my old lady phase.
No,
let's go ahead and get into this this commentary about the stuff that's going on, because I've read a couple of your things that you put on the list or whatever, and I just can't wait to hear your opinion on some of these things. So.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot.
Where do you want to start? I'm sorry. How are you doing, sis?
I'm good. I was just getting ready to comment on what you were going to say, or what you had just said, because I was just thinking that it reminded me of that meme of like when you're young, you know, it's like all these rules and you get so upset, but now it's like I want to go to bed early, I want to stay inside on the weekends. And now I kind of remember, like, when we were younger, I remember this sense of like blownness when like we would go to it's like, okay, it's time, like everybody's picked up from school or whatever, it's time to go to the house. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, if we don't stop on the way home, there's no way my mother's going back out of this house. You know what I'm saying? I used to be so blown. But now I understand, it's like, that's the goal, to get to the house and stay there. Right? And it's like such a good goal. And like when I have to leave for something other than like recreation or like shopping or something, I get super blown. Like, oh, I have to leave here?
I know. And it's not even like it's the place that you're going to is somewhere that you don't want to go. It's just
right.
Like, I don't feel like doing it right now. I'd rather just be, I don't know. I like to use the word piddling, but it's really not piddling.
I love it.
I feel like piddling is without like a result or without a benefit, right? But I just have so many different little, like, I guess I'll say projects to work on around the house, just different stuff that I could be doing, that I often find myself being like, you know what, dang, I really want to do this, or I really want to do that. So anyway, enough about that.
I love it. Ever since you made that statement, I've been piddling.
Listen, I will stay home. Like, I used to love snow days because I was like, oh, if we have a snow day, that means that pretty much, you know, my job was shut down, and I'll be able to cook something really good. I'll be able to like do something like that I don't normally do, like a puzzle, or do something like, you know, something like that. But lately what I've been doing is just like actually looking at some of the stuff that I've been saving and being like, why are you saving this? Like, what?
Oh my gosh.
This now? Have you used it in the last 3 to 6 months?
It's so hard.
Will you use it in the next 3 to 6 months? It is hard, but if you think about it, it's like you can't even touch all the stuff. It's stuff that I didn't even remember that I freaking had. I was like, what?
Why do you have this? No, I understand.
But you know, I'm so that's where I'm at right now, or whatever. I'm not trying to be a minimalist, but I'm definitely not trying to be a borderline hoarder, because at this point, when I look at the stuff that I'm saving, I'm like, yo, you had ideas for this, but now that moment has passed, but you still have this stuff. So what are you gonna do? So
you just hold on to these little ideas, like in bubbles, like, I'm gonna get this one day. This is over here. I understand. I'm the same way, but yeah, you're nowhere near hoarding. I was looking at something the other day online, unfortunately, and no hate or shade to hoarders, but man, sometimes I watch that show Hoarders just to get the motivation.
I'll be watching that show too. Now I will say this. Now I'm not saying hoarder as in
exactly,
just everything's everywhere, but it's just like, you know, I have the bins organized and everything like that, but I'm looking in those bins and I'm like, why are you really saving this? And like, just like, well, thanks to you, I have a whole bunch of like books and pens and stuff like that I'll never need to go buy one. But I was going through like a couple of those like shopping bags that I had that I thought were just like office supplies, but it was stuff in there that I was like not looking for, but like, why is this in here? And why is it supposed to be? So one of the things that I do have to tackle is filing. Like, you know, you check the mail every day, you bring in stuff or whatever, and then for me, I don't throw it out right away. I end up having a whole bunch of stuff and I'm like, bruh, how is this much mail coming to the house?
No, I'm the same way, but you know what's so irritating? It's, you know what makes you that way, if it's something that has to do with the way that makes me do it, it's that sometimes I can't find something, and then that makes me then go and try to save everything. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going to save all this paperwork. And, you know, then when I'm looking for it, I'll just fiddle through the paperwork.
Listen, okay, so I'm right here. This right here, I saw this a couple of times before I saw this. So it's like, I know it's somewhere in the chat. But let me tell you how, I said this last week in one of my fitness chats, because a lot of times you have this thought that, I just do this in this area of my life, right? But if you think about it, it spills over to a lot. And so what you just said and what we just talked about how I be with the mail, right? I am also like that for the reason that you said with my email. My email is organized chaos, okay? I have some folders and then I don't have folders. But I know if you ask me for something, I'm going to go ahead and put that keyword in and bring that email right up.
That's what I'm saying.
Scared to delete stuff. But I have to really, really stop it, because even when I look at my desktop, like, I'm just like, dude, you don't even need this from 3 years ago, that you don't even work in that office anymore. Like, why is this still?
I understand. Like, okay, so let me just tell you this. You shouldn't put things on your desktop because it takes up more space and it takes up memory. And that's why I had to say this to James a little while ago, because he had like 50 things on his desktop. And I was like, look, that is, your computer thinks that you're trying to run all of those things, so it's going to be slower. So put them in another folder, like documents or something. But I do understand okay, listen, let me tell you something about my email. People hate the way my email is set up, but I have folders for important stuff, and I like to label stuff so I could just always search for it.
I know your email is tip top.
My email is, some people would find disgusting, because there's several things.
You would find mine disgusting. You'd be like, you have how many emails?
I'll read it. Look, I'll read it and I'll tag it. But if I still want it in my inbox, I'll keep it in my inbox. I read all my emails, but I don't necessarily file them all. They're all there. And then if I need something, I can search for them. I don't think I delete maybe like, I don't delete that many emails because it's like, what's the point? I'm going to need.
Yeah, I definitely don't delete a lot of emails. Only emails I don't delete emails because, like I said, it's always a question of, one, did I send that to you before? Two, did you send this to me before? Like you're saying, or whatever. So, you know,
and then sometimes
and then I'm tagged, I'm copied on everything. So it's like,
oh, now that's a blower. I've stopped doing that to my coworkers. Like, I feel like if there's no action for you, and you don't need to, hey Mocha, and you don't need to follow this project. Matter of fact, not even if you don't need to follow this project, if it's not ready for you to do something, I'm not CCing you because it's just gonna junk up people's email. It's another thing that they have to read. Job. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then you got to read it, and especially if there's no action for you, that's how we got in the position we did with all these emails. Like,
that's so like I get CC'd on a lot of stuff, and some of it is I don't need to pay attention to, but I need to be aware of it. And like if anybody responds and stuff like that, like, oh well, I can find this information over here. But it's like handling multiple projects, and then you have to be like, okay, I
gotta send you this.
I get so many new emails a day, but I check all my emails. But
anyway, I don't necessarily know how we got all this far. I don't necessarily file them all, and I think that's something that we have to let go of. Like I used to be so pressed, like I'm trying to get to 0 inbox, I'm 200 away. Nah. I'm not never going to get to 0 inbox unless I stop doing some things. It's like stop handling some projects. And it's more important for me to handle those projects than to keep like maybe my inbox is not meant to be like super pristine, pretty. As long as I can read everything that's important. And this is
I understand my inbox just fine.
Let me just shock the world here because I was reading this book. I cannot remember the name of it right now. I was listening to it. It was an ebook. I'm about to find out right now because it's right here on my app. But what was happening? It's such an interesting concept, but it's like if it's really, really that important, like listen, I'm reading all my emails, but if something is really, really important and I forgot about it or whatever, then somebody is going to remind me or I'm somehow going to remember. It's just too many things coming at us for us to keep everything all pristine. And so I've given up on 0 inbox. I'm just like, look, I'm taking every day as it is. I have projects that are important to me. Managing my email is not necessarily my top priority. Like I know I have projects that I'm into that I'm getting information on and getting work done in. But like if I miss an email, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I used to work with this guy, and I remember he had me come and look at his computer for something, and he had like 7 new emails, but everything else was gone. I was like, "Yo, where are all your emails?" He was like, "Oh, I file them immediately." I'm like, "Bruh, Mocha said that she stays at 0 at working at home." I applaud you.
That is like a part-time job. I listen.
At least 30 emails a day. I get at least 30, at least on a slow day, but.
Here's
the always book name. Something, you know what I'm saying?
The book name is Come Up for Air by Nick Sonnenberg. And I was reading it for my team. Like, they don't know I told a couple people, but like when I heard about it and what it was about, I was like, let me read this because I think it'll help my team.
Who's it by?
It's by Nick Sonnenberg.
Okay.
Sonnenberg. Once I started reading it or listening to it, I realized that like this stuff could work, but nobody's going to be comfortable enough to do the things that he's advancing. And I was just like, wow, this is so dope. And it's such a good.
Wow, like what? What's
so like, okay, so email comes to mind because he basically was like, everybody on your team, like internally needs to basically from this point on, just forgive anything that they did, like anything that you sent more than 30 days ago and I haven't responded to, forgive it. If it's really important, put it back up to the top of my inbox. But like any email that's over 30 days, everybody just needs to understand that that's not urgent because it's not been handled in 30 days. So with that in mind, all you got to do is just comb back through the last 30 days. And the idea that you're not going to get to everything is prevalent. Like, listen, some things aren't going to get done, right? Like we're not gonna organize everything. Everything's not gonna be super pretty, but we're gonna get the most important things done. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, that's an interesting concept. But like, people are uncomfortable with that. I was just like, this is never.
I mean, so you're saying to move everything except for stuff that's 30 days, right?
Basically, like folder. Here's the concept. If everything that was older than 30 days,
I mean, but you're not deleting it, you're just moving it.
No, but think about it. If you archived everything that was older than 30 days out of your inbox, and now you're only dealing with the things for the last 30 days, right? That means that something that was 31 or 35 or 40 days ago that might be coming up, that might be super important, everybody has to understand that, like, we're having a moment of grace. And if it's really important to you, you'll put it at the top of my inbox.
Well, right? Yeah, that's, I mean, I feel like that's I feel like that's a common practice too. If I'm talking about something old, I'm going to respond to the old email to put it at the top, right? So that makes sense. But
like, I think that with our culture of like, you know, one of the other things that I was listening to was something by Cal Newport, and he was talking about, and this is, we done already geeked out on this conversation. I know. Because
like, why are we talking about this?
But he was basically making the point that, like, if we could kind of get our minds wrapped around the fact that, like, productivity is slow and everything's not due right now. We just need to figure out what we're good at, like what's important, what we're good at, and then understand that it's going to take a minute. Everything's not due right away. But I don't think we're there, especially not at my organization. Everybody's like, oh, okay, let's get to it right away. Where are we with this? And it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
I guess everything's urgent.
You can be in an organization where you get emails at different times of the week, meaning outside of the work week, right? And if you are a person, especially working from home, who is like stuck to your phone and you start answering those emails, like I recommend not to do that. Like if you want to set boundaries and be like, you know, this is the time that I work, you can look at the emails that you get over the weekend, but don't answer them because you're training those people to expect you to answer, you know, as soon as they do it, if you start doing it. So I learned that.
And that's one of the concepts too, is like, everyone has access to task you with things through your email. If you think about each one of your emails being some sort of obligation, it's overload. Like nobody's built that way. This is not the way our minds were built. Like, and you got to think about all the projects you have open, all the responsibilities that you have inside work, outside work, things that are implied. It's just like too much. So it's just like, I've just made the decision that, you know, if it's really important to you, then I would have talked to you about it in the last couple of weeks, wouldn't I have? Oh, we haven't talked about that in 2 weeks. I'll get right on it.
Mocha says, I've been like this for years. I dedicated myself to doing it. Now it's routine. I like that statement because
I love that.
That is actually what you have to do.
Yes, the routine. That's
I mean, like dedicate yourself to doing it, and then eventually it'll become like a routine.
Yeah, I gave up, but yeah, that's a good one. I'm definitely on the zero inbox thing.
But my coworkers know not to email me. They send me a message through MS Teams. Now, see, we have something else that we use, and whenever I hear that sound, it's like a piercing sound. It doesn't matter who is doing it. I'm like, who's asking for me, or like who's asking for something? But yeah, and then I have a bad habit sometimes of opening one email at a time. If two different people are emailing me about something different, I'll be working both of those emails, which I had to stop doing because focus on this one, close this out, because I would, you know, sometimes forget a step in something because I was trying to do both of them at the same time. But anyway,
I'm that person too. I have 5 tabs open. Okay, we get ready to move on, but I'm that person too. I have 5 tabs open. One of the things I had to train myself to do was when I have, like, let's say I have 25 new emails, I need to read all 25 emails and then prioritize them and answer them that way. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh, this is next one. Oh, this is the next one. I'm answering them one by one.
And then you're already into something and you like,
and it's 3 hours later. Right now. Yeah. It's 3 hours later and I didn't even decide what my priority was. So first thing I do, okay, so now we into this one. I'm about to be on something else. First thing I do.
Live is not about this, guys, but you know, we're going to wrap this part up. So anyway.
First thing I do is I like brain dump or like make my list of like, these are the things that are important to me to get done today. Because these projects that I had that are like, oh, if one of these slips, then there'll be a problem. And then people will be like, oh, why didn't we get paid? Right. So it's like, no, these are my tasks, and everything else is an ask on top of that, right? Like, these are my tasks, right? I got this, I got that, I got these are my open projects, these are my areas of responsibility. In those areas of responsibility, I have certain tasks and projects going. So anything that's related to that, right? Like, I'm getting emails and stuff about, but like, first thing I'll do is I'll make my list of what I want to get accomplished today. Then I'll look at the lot of emails and I'll decide, oh, you're important, you can wait, might even snooze you to tomorrow, da da da. And I pick and choose because I'm like, you're not getting ready to sit here and waste my time, especially if somebody got a dumb question or something that they can go and find somewhere else. Oh, I'll let that thing sit. Because 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, you could just go Google that. So by the time you follow up with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never answer my email and you're emailing me again when there's a good Google search bar right at the top of your screen. Right? Nobody does that. So sometimes I'll just ignore emails. If I read them all and I recognize that, like, oh, this isn't important, or this, you know, this, I don't need to spend my time answering this. And then I don't know, somehow I get through like that. But
well, I have to open all my emails to make sure it's not any action for me. But then I do that same thing. Like, I'll check all my emails first, and then I'll always have my trusty, you know, Bujo. But I will take my action from there and be like, okay, this is the list. And then the emails don't matter at that point. Like, now I'm just responding in real time or whatever based on whatever's happening. So, but anyway, this is not about that, guys. We are here to talk about some of the things that have been going on in the past week. And I don't know what the first thing on the list is, but the first thing in my mind is the brick lady, the lady that got hit in the face with the brick.
Yeah. All right, well, look, let's start with the good news. Let me just open this up. Okay. You know, I'm all scared about what I can share and what I can't, but you know what? We're going to live our lives, okay?
Yeah, I know. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Here's one thing. Let's start with the good news, and then we'll get into the heavy stuff, okay? This happened. This lady is still out here making news. I mean, like, how can you be one person and make this much news? This is like breaking news. Like, people are looking for this. So Beyonce's birthday was the other day. I think it was like Sunday or something like that. It was Labor Day. And Diana Ross came out and sang her happy birthday because a couple years ago, Beyonce sang Diana Ross happy birthday. And so she was like, oh, I just came to return a favor. But the iconicness of Diana Ross, she comes out on that stage and that hair is just going. And I was magically like, I mean, something about Diana Ross. And like, when she started flipping that hair, it's like, oh my God, it's like she's just an angel or something. I love me some Diana Ross, and to think that I don't know how old she is, but she still looks very good. So I was just like, wow, that's really dope. Like, for Diana Ross to be singing you, like, you gotta remember, like, Michael Jackson was obsessed with Diana Ross. Like, this is a real big deal. So
was it a surprise?
It was. She came running out. This lady was sprinting in heels. Okay, Beyonce came running from the back in some heels, like, to come out there. And I've never seen this. It was like a still shot of her, like, cheesing really hard.
I didn't see it.
I've never seen her smile like that. It's like, you know, Beyonce's not a great actor, okay? And I love her, but she's not a good actor at all. And the way that she was smiling, you could just tell she was smiling from the inside. And I could just say, like, that's such a beautiful moment. Diana Ross is singing you happy birthday.
Yeah, that is tight.
Then she made a speech. I think it was before this though, because we saw the show, and this part is later in the show when she puts that outfit on. But in the beginning of the show, she gave like a heartfelt, like, oh, we've been through so much, and I'm so glad we're here. She was cussing and stuff. And I was like, oh, B is talking now. You know, she don't really do that much talking. So I was like, wow, this is cool. But she gave a shout out to the original members of Destiny's Child, like, by name. She was just talking about how her heart was full and how, I mean, I guess it's just like hitting her that, like, wow. She was like, I'm fucking 42. I was like, Beyonce's out here cussing in these streets. I've heard her.
She probably be cussing. Yeah, we just don't be hearing her talk. You know what I'm saying?
But it was we never hear her talk like that.
Mocha says that was so iconic. And then
it was dope.
She says she's 79. Diana Ross is 79 years old.
Man, she don't look no 79. She could literally be like 45 or 50. Like, she's just so amazing. So, I mean, I just think she's like magic. Diana Ross is a magical being. I don't even know how she's like, I don't even know how she's floating out here on these streets. Like, I don't even know. Anyway, so that was that. And then, one of my other favorite moments, and then I'm gonna let it go. This is so funny. I sent this to you. If you didn't see this, I'm gonna be so mad at you. Did you see this?
I did not see
Okay. It. You got to listen to this, but I'm not going to play it now because I just don't want us to get flagged or anything like that. So here's the story. Tia Mowry came to the show and Beyonce sees her, gets excited, like, oh, I love you. Then she proceeds to sing Yeah, Yeah, Yeah by the Voices.
For real?
And it sounded bomb. And then she looked over at her like real proud, like, see, I'm singing your song. But I'm thinking to myself, like the 9-year-old me on the inside was like, ah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all knew that song.
But hey, that used to be my song, yo. That video was hilarious. They had them freaking sponge rollers and
how many times have we sang that song when we were younger? So it's so funny because I laughed because I was like, wow, Beyonce is like, you know, like our age. So she probably was excited too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was her jam. Like I know the Destiny's Child girls back when they were like Girls Time. They were singing that for one of their like promo. But she sang that joint on stage. Like she was
okay, I gotta watch that joint.
Oh my God.
You sent it to me on Instagram?
Yes, I sent it to you on Instagram. And it was so funny because it's like the thinking is that okay, there's all these thousands of people here. She just switched it up on all her, you know what I'm saying? Like she sang it in the key that she was singing the song in, but she just switched it up. Like, oh, she saw her and then she turned around and was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was just singing the song. And it was like so funny. I was like, who does that? That was like dope.
What, Mocha? Hold up. Mocha says Beyonce cusses all the time. Listen to her songs. But this comment, she said, I'm older than y'all. I didn't know the song. Oh my God, you didn't get to hear that? Get to know that song?
She has to know that if she heard it. I wonder if
she didn't know it.
Oh, okay. The Voices sang it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Voices was comprised of.
Which one? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, the Voices was comprised of both of the Mowry twins and like two other girls that I had looked up where they were, like years ago. Like whatever happened to them, but I don't remember. Anyway, all right. So that was the good news, unfortunately, and now we're gonna move on to some of the more unfortunate news.
Well, we can. Okay, well, you know, we can talk about that in a second. We can. Okay, yeah. Let's.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. No. I did that accidentally.
No, because I was gonna say we can talk about Chrisean Rock really quick because that's kind of good. She had her baby and she did it on IG Live. Now I did not watch the IG Live to see the whole pregnancy. I mean the whole birth or whatever. But from what I understand now, okay, so she must have. Blueface was in Miami. She was in Baltimore. They didn't know where each other was because they're not together. But he's mad because he's saying that she didn't tell him. He did it on purpose. She didn't tell him that she was in labor and stuff like that. I think she went to the hospital because she thought it was Braxton Hicks. And it turned out that she, you know, was in labor. She was like 2 centimeters, I think they said. But I think that she has finally got her mom button clicked because, I'm not going to jump all the way out there yet and say that she's, not going to do stuff anymore. But I think when it comes to him, something happens when you have a baby. Once you see that face, you're like, oh my God, okay. You know what I'm saying? Most of us, right? And I think that has happened to her. Apparently he was telling her that he was upset that she was trying to go perform at Lil Baby's concert and he made it about Lil Baby. But that leads me to the question of who do you see her with? Chat, y'all get in this too. Who do y'all think will be a good person to for Chrisean Rock to date? Because I don't think it's Lil Baby, but look, I'm just, She said she's 59. Okay. You wouldn't have been. You would have been like, "What are y'all listening to?" She said, "When y'all were young, I was in those streets."
No, that's right. Okay, she was listening to Rob Bass and
She said, I saw Chrisean had a baby. I hope she just ignores him. I do too, but I feel like it's something different in this. I feel like the old Chrisean is not the same anymore. Something has changed a little bit in her. And a baby will do that to you because you have this whole life to take care of. You know what I mean?
So I saw her. I saw some of this stuff. I saw her being upset. So first of all, let me just say this is the cute. This is a really cute baby. He already has an Instagram page. Okay, and he has like 750. Wait, let me get this right because I don't want to say that right. He has He has one picture posted. Let's go to his. Oh yeah, he has 794,000 followers. Okay,
he's not even a week old yet.
He's not a week old, and he's really cute. He looks just like her. So this makes me excited for her because that means that she has a lot of opportunity out there outside of that toxic relationship. I do think you're right. There was a moment, and I didn't watch it live, but because she gave birth on a live, we have the magic of the internet that we can go back and replay. And I did watch a little bit of it, and people were okay. First of all, let's talk about that. People were sort of getting on her because it's like, why are you going into labor on the live? Like, first of all, she wasn't holding the camera. Lots of people record their birth, right? Like birth videos. I had a girl that I used to work with came up to me one day, like, look at this. And she showed me this video, and it was her giving birth to her child. Like, and I was just like, oh, like I wasn't expecting that. And we worked in a restaurant. I was just like, lady, what are you doing? But I watched it just because I mean she was a nice girl, and I'm sure I don't know what she was doing, but I was just like, oh,
that is wild.
It was wild, but it's just like, it's an exciting thing. Like, you're having a baby. And I think that here's the thing. I think that she feels some level of love and trust from people on the internet because for whatever reason, I don't know. I can't say. I mean, a lot of people are supporting her, like including me. You know what I'm saying? Like I support her if she was in like a movie or something. Like I would support her if she had like a product to sell. I would do that. I would support her. But I don't know why she would have gone live for her birth. It was very odd. Actually, I'll share this. So she had this big thick chain on, and at first I was like, that has to be uncomfortable. But then I realized that she might have just wanted to cover the tattoo on her neck because I think she has a tattoo of
she does.
So maybe she just didn't want that in her memory of whatever, and maybe she was like, oh, instead of a video, we might as well go live. Anyway.
Well, think about it like this though, because we grew up in a era where we were introduced to the internet. So for us, it's kind of like I use it for this, but this part is not for it. But the people her age, they grew up with all of this stuff, people filming stuff online. So to them, it might be like this is nothing, new.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There was a lot of people in there. Like I feel like people were there for it, and I mean, and there's a lot of love here. So I mean, maybe she just wanted to be connected to somebody. I don't know.
I mean, but no, because I mean, there's so many little nooks and crannies to this. Because one, she comes from a generation where that's what they do. But then think about the fact that Blueface wasn't there, right?
Oh, you think she did that?
It could have been some of that, you know what I mean? You don't want to be here, the world's going to watch it, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to see that you're not here. Like, who knows?
That's a good observation.
But yeah, I think mostly it's because of her generation. Like, that is what they do. They film everything. So,
yeah. Well, listen, I do think that there was a moment after she pushed the baby out that she sort of like, well, I mean, she was crying because it probably hurt, but also I think she got a sense of like, oh, this is my son. Like I just brought a child into the world. And it's a beautiful thing. And look at him. He is a gorgeous baby. Okay. He is so cute and he looks just like her. And I'll bet she definitely got that mama gene. Like, well, oh no.
I think that's what happens to most women. Once having a baby is some grown up shit, and you got to hurry up and grow up if you haven't, because that baby's gonna be depending on you. Mocha said he was threatening her today. People were begging her to get off social media. Yeah, he's going through it because one, she named the child Chrisean Jr. and she said had he been there, she probably would have named it after him. Now, I don't know how I feel about that right now, because, I mean, I used to say that all the time. Like, whatever I have is going to be Demeter Jr., but I was totally joking. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not surprised that she did it. Like, I'm not surprised about that. But at the same time, like she's the clout to me in them too. Like, yeah, they're both celebrities or whatever, but she's so like before she got into all of this, like she had a lot of things going for her, you know what I mean? And now she's doing her music, she's, on the show. And so I feel like she just needs to, because part of the argument too was that he was trying to get back control of her funds, because when they was together, she was paying for a lot of stuff, I guess. But I feel like I just need her to focus on this baby and doing her and just upscale. So that's scale up. And so that is what brings me to the question of who do you see her with? Like 10 years from now, right? Who do you see her with? Like how Rihanna was with Chris Brown years and years ago. Now fast forward, she with ASAP Rocky, right? What kind of guy?
Oh, right.
Like who in the business do we see? Because right now, Lil Baby's name is coming in. Blueface is trying to accuse her of trying to like chase cop or whatever. But she says that's not what she was doing. But like in the reality, she is probably gonna pick somebody who is in her like professional, not professional circle, but like in the line of what she's doing, because their lifestyles will probably fit more than just a regular 9 to 5 person, right?
So like, yeah, I don't know a lot of rappers out there nowadays, but I do know about like Lil Baby, and I know he's a very intelligent person, and I know about like Tyler the Creator and some people, but I don't really know a lot of people that are her age out there. I don't know who I see her with. I actually could see her with somebody who's not as like rough, you know what I'm saying? Like if you think about like I don't know, like the difference between a Tupac and a Will Smith, right? I feel, and I didn't know she was from Baltimore. That explains a lot. So I feel like she's really smart, and I feel like people were begging her to get off the live. I did see that, and I do know that, like, especially with a custody battle, you have to hold your cards tight and then pull them joints out in order in court, right? Because like you just don't know how that's going to work. Yeah. However,
and then they have a lot of their stuff that they've been doing this past year online too. So it's like,
I think she's so young and she wants to tell everybody her story. I think she wants to be out there saying like, well, that's not even true because She wants to like set the record straight. And right now, I don't know that is the wisest thing to do. As far as her being with somebody like 10 years down the road, hopefully it's somebody who is making some actual moves. Like, who am I thinking about? Like the young guy who was in Ghost, like Michael Rainey Jr. Maybe, is that his name? I don't know. I might be making that
Tyreek.
Yeah,
that was his name on the show.
I can see her with somebody like that. Somebody who's like not necessarily in the streets, but they fuck somebody up for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but I don't have to, but I could also take care of mine. And I'm really smart and I know how to, do some things. So I could see her with somebody like that. Because she does seem like a even though she's, super hood when she feels like she has to be, I do feel like she's like a softie inside. And she's really, I don't know what it is about her, but I definitely think she's smart and I think she is talented. I just want to see her make the best.
Yeah, I want to see her grow from this, because I know how it is when you're young and you think you know everything, and then as you get older, you realize certain other things. So I hope that this is the start of that, because she got a baby, you know what I'm saying? And I was so against them bringing a baby into this or whatever, but it seems like that has kind of woken her up to be like, you know what? Nah,
this is such a toxic situation, and it's gone back and forth for me. Like I couldn't figure out. I guess in my mind, I was trying to figure out in the beginning, like, oh, maybe it's him that's toxic. Oh, maybe it's her that's toxic, right? And then I just realized that they were feeding each other hazardous material. They were both consuming and extracting like hazardous waste, so they're both toxic. But I do think that this is a change. Like, look, throw him back. He want to be with that other lady with the box butt. Let them be happy together.
Zoe got on her live and told her that exact same thing. Like he was, giving her a lot of like positive like talk like, you know, you
Yeah.
are that girl and you need to, you know, he's controlling the way that you're acting right now because you are, you know, but she said some damning things on there like about him. So I don't know, you know, you never know what is truth and what is not, like, because we none of us are in their relationship or were in their relationship. So, you know, I don't know how true the stuff is, but you know, he doesn't present. His mom was saying that he's like a good father. He takes care of his kids, or her kids take care of their kids, or something like that. So I don't know that that's the case or what, but because I don't know, like the whole argument is crazy to me. Because if you find out somebody in labor, like I feel like that's just like a big ass emergency that whatever's going on, you'd be like, I gotta go, I gotta be there. You know what
Well,
I'm
my
saying?
thing is, he did it, you know, regardless of whether she set that up or whatever, like, he was somewhere else throughout the pregnancy. It didn't seem like he was super interested in having the baby. He, you know, they did the whole pregnancy test thing. He didn't want her to have the baby in the beginning. I do remember that. She has admitted that she's had more than one miscarriage or more than one termination of pregnancy voluntarily. And I feel like she decided she was going to have this baby. And I feel like, don't know this for sure, but I feel like he wasn't all the way on board. And she was just like gung ho, like, I'm going to do it. And he's been on and off. He's still with his other baby's mom, which is a very weird sister wife situation. And I'm saying weird because I could see myself in that situation. It doesn't seem like she wants to be in that situation either. But it's like, let them be together if they want to be together. And she has so much that she could go and get if she wanted to. But I realized that when you're in the situation, it doesn't feel like that. So it might just take her to get through, you know, this little bit of time and hopefully not get back with him, because I feel like it's the antidote and the poison. It's
Yeah,
just
well, he's with this other chick now. She's living with her family or whatever. She got a little support system, she said. So, you know, I guess we'll just see how it goes. Because, like I
yeah, but
said,
you know, one little big head text and that could all be over, and then they back online, you know, cruising the streets together.
yeah, I don't know. Because, like, it was on fire today. She was going live. He was tweeting. She was tweeting. I was like, what is happening right now?
I know it's sad to watch. I mean, but listen, I didn't expect anything different from them. I'll be. Hopefully, she will finally be like, this will be the thing that's like, I can't do this no more.
Listen, that's my hope. That's my hope.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that they were talking together. I feel like, you know, they're both still young. This is probably best because she seems like something just like clicked in her. And hopefully this time will help her to be, you know, the time with the child and, you know, reflection and all of that. Like it's just something that motherhood does to you once you see that little face. You know what I mean? So I wish, you know, I hope that she does just keep going that way, because you know we'll be back on here in a month saying they're back together. I don't want to be saying
I don't want to do that. And you know, he's with this other lady. I guess her name is Jaden, and he had said something in one of his posts at some point. I did see this madness online where he was talking to this lady, like, "Oh, you know, I'll just bring the baby back here, and you can raise it." And she was like, "What? Why does that? Why? No, why do you think that I'm gonna do that?" But it's like, I feel like he really thinks that, because this is the second time I'm seeing him say this. Like, oh, I'm going to bring my baby back to my other babies, your baby back to my other baby's mom, and we're going to raise it. And that right there just shows you what he thinks about you. He thinks that you're going to have a whole baby and he's going to take your baby. What are you talking about?
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but the idea, and I know she just like a few days postpartum, so I know her emotions or hormones are probably really raging, but you could see that she was upset earlier. And I was thinking to myself, like, I hope she recognizes that she doesn't have to listen to him, right? It's like sometimes people are talking off in the distance and you could just shut the window and not even hear them anymore. And I hope that she recognizes that and doesn't want to go back. And it's like sometimes you just want to be right and you want the other person to acknowledge you, right? Like, yeah, right. Like I said. And I feel like she might be in that moment right now, but hopefully she'll get through this patch and just leave him back there. Because,
Please do. Listen, like I said, when I saw Zoe pop up there and was like, leave him alone, whatever, and I was like, she does have people that are, like people are not just saying, oh, work it out with him, or this is baby, whatever. Like they're supporting the fact that they don't need to be together, and that she is, I don't know, man. I don't think she needs him, but clearly she doesn't.
I know she doesn't for sure, but here we are, and the baby is so cute, and I feel like, hey, look, I'm gonna be honest. He is one of the cutest babies I've seen, but he looked like he's been through a couple things already.
She said,
he looked hard. He looked like yeah, like he looked like.
Well, I gotta go back and finish watching the live. She was sitting down. She was just about to talk about how when she cries, he cries with her, but he doesn't cry all that much unless something's wrong. So I thought that was kind of interesting because a baby spends so much time in you, and they go through the stuff that you go through. As a mom, like if you have stress put on your body, you putting the baby under stress, right? And so she did a lot of crying while she was pregnant. And so, I don't know. That's funny because it seems like he came out like, all right, I'm just going to chill because I put, I've experienced all of this while she was, pregnant with me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like I said, stuff like this changes people. It changes your perception of like, oh, life in general. Like, it's a whole nother life here that I gotta take care of. I can't fail. I can't.
Especially when somebody is just a few days postpartum and you are talking about taking the baby from them, and like he's not up to any good. And so I just feel like, all right, he's showing that he doesn't care about you.
If he recorded him telling the other lady, I'm just going to take the baby and bring him over here to you.
What, sir? Have several seats and a nap. We are not going to do this.
Absolutely not.
That's that in the news today as far as this story is concerned. We wish her the best. We can't help but follow the story because the internet will not let us do anything else. Absolutely. I tried to, a long time ago, I tried to stop following their story because I got so like emotionally irritated, or I don't know. I was so invested. And at one point, I guess it was maybe earlier on, I thought she really was going to leave him. And this is before she got pregnant, I think. And I don't know. So much has happened with them. And that's another thing. It's like when you have that much trauma in a relationship, it's easy to go back because this isn't the worst thing that you've ever endured. So hopefully this is the thing though, that she's like, I can't bring my baby around this. You know,
like I said, she said some things in that live.
I didn't see the whole live.
The mother also talked to somebody. Somebody found the mother and asked her questions, or ran up on her, asked her questions, and she was saying, she made a comment that somebody asked, do you think that they'll be able to get back together or work it out, whatever? And she was like, no, I don't think so.
Wait, whose mother?
His mother. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I wonder what is making her so sure.
She didn't like her though, right?
I don't remember the dynamics of that, but like I feel like when it comes to somebody's relationship and whether they get back together, it's always like a possibility until it's not. So when somebody is so adamant, I just wonder like what is making you say that? Like,
right, yeah.
But like I think that it's unfortunate because they have a kid together now, so they'll have to deal with each other. But hopefully that through the process that somebody grows enough for it not to keep being as volatile as it is. So.
Well, there are other alternatives too, because I feel like he doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, I don't know if he wants to be a part of the child's life or not, but like, I don't know from afar what's happening with like Future and his son with Sierra. It seems like he doesn't have any contact with his son. His son seems to be doing just peachy keen with all his siblings in that wonderful mansion.
That's what watching his stepdad you see her with. That's what made me ask who you see her with, but. Apparently, he is upset about the fact that she named the baby Chrisean and not after him.
Which is so silly, sir. Sit down. Like I
don't know. I suppose as a man, that would be like a gut punch. You know what I mean? And then the whole world knows that she named your child a junior, but a junior after herself. Like
That was the ultimate like slap in the face. That's what makes me think that she's smarter than she lets on. Like, I don't think she's stupid by any means, but like it's certain things that happen like that I'm like, oh, she's really running the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even in that live, one of the clips that I did see was her saying, like, I went through a lot with that pregnancy. And it seemed like she was just trying to get through the pregnancy. And there's a couple of things back and forth. Like, I saw one post where she said, I simply didn't invite him to the birth. And then I saw another thing, or it was a clip of her talking, saying like she was in Baltimore, and he was, you know, he could have been there if he wanted or something like that. She didn't know. She didn't know she was about to go into labor. But these things of like, okay, also a couple of the things that he's done that we've seen him do, that we've seen him say to her, and the way that he's treating things, they're classic, like dysfunctional, sort of like tactics that men do to control women. I won't even take it down to like men and women, because maybe women do things like that to control men too, or in any type of scenario. But he says certain things that I feel like, even they were having this conversation in a car where he was trying to explain to her that, oh, she doesn't know how much it costs to take all these flights and to do this, and why don't you go and take your money and go, I've made you, so you go and do this. But it's like, that little thing right there of like, I've made you someone, I've made a name for you, so now go make something out of it. It's very Ike Turner. It's very like manipulative. It's very I own you. It's very, I'll send you back to the strip club, Jocelyn. And it's like, as soon as she realizes that, like, oh, he doesn't actually have power over her, she could go to major heights. She had actually said something, I guess BET like liked one of her posts or something, and she was like, put me in a movie, and they were like, bet, or something like that, which would be funny because they're BET. But like, it's funny to me because it could be that easy. Like, she just put up, I don't know if she's behind this Instagram profile for her son, but
yeah, I think she is.
But look, that account has not been open even for a week, okay? And it has, or I don't know how long it's been open for, but it has one post and it has 790 something thousand people that are interested. So if she wants to come out with a product, or if she has a show, or if she has a movie or anything, I'm sure that some people will support. And I know I'm one of them. And I've heard her rap a couple times. I'm not like a fan. I probably wouldn't go to a concert. But if she was selling some shea butter, hey, I'm a customer. You know what I mean? So I feel like she can do a lot of things like that. And we look at people like Kylie Jenner and others who have this, who have taken on business models that if you have the audience, then you can create a business based on people just reacting to their fandom of you, or just wanting to support you, or just a pretty package and something that you just need all the time. She could start selling socks and become like the pillow guy. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. And I think she has a tenacity and a personality that can take her very far, but she has to stop focusing on this dude, because I don't even think he had no hit since Tatiana, and that song wasn't even on beat. I don't know. I'm not trying to hate on him either.
And I just hope that, this is kind of like a turning point or whatever. Mocha says he could stay over there with Miss Stewie Drewski SpongeBob, aka.
Oh my God!
I gotta go and look and see what she looks like, because I don't know. But that's anyway, hilarious. So yeah, shout out to her, shout out to the baby, and I hope and then the mother also got mad too. She did a post about how they both need to stop, doing whatever they're doing. It's about the child now. So, so that's the position that she's taking or whatever. But so we'll see how it happens, how it unfolds.
That's really interesting that she would say that. I don't know how I feel about the mother, because he also has other children and he's out here doing this and they're of age. Well,
according to her, she said that he's a good father.
But he's still doing these things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like, I mean,
people were coming for her too because of that. You know what I mean? And so she was out here posting.
I'm not trying to judge nobody. I just don't think that they're a match, and they don't bring out the best in each other. So it's time to move along, because I don't want to see it anymore. And I don't want I don't want to shut her out, like ignore block, right? But I just don't want to see them together anymore. It's not what I want to see. And I mean, not even for my own eyes and entertainment, but just for like, yeah, if that baby is crying every time she cries, she need to work on not crying. She need to work on laughing, right? And it's like, it's just that simple. And I don't think we realize that sometimes when we're in bad situations. I've definitely had a couple bad situations where you just can't see past your feelings. It's just like, but I feel like this, so this is how I need to react.
And when you're pregnant and had a baby, that is, like she could be, she could be suffering with postpartum as well. Who knows? It's too early, right? We don't really know, but it could be a number of things. So it's like, this is the last thing she needs. So
look, she need to get her a Fashion Nova contract, okay? And then somebody need to contact her about how she could put her name on an already established product and get that thing out there. And she could be selling spoons and tablecloths. We all need lots of stuff, y'all. She could be selling light bulbs. I'll support
light
her.
switch covers. Come on now.
Look, light switch covers.
Not supposed to be selling everything. Covers. I think she's gonna come out with something good, but I don't think that is a hurt for her right now. So, but she'll figure out, I'm pretty sure she'll be approached with some things too, because I mean, they already have the show and stuff like that. So people have seen her work. So, we'll see. She might end up in a BET movie. Who knows?
We shall see. And then as soon as she collect that $14, I need somebody else to come with another project so she can keep lucrative. Okay, let me stop that. Right, look, now we got to get into this heavy news, y'all, because this is really out here happening, and it brings up another topic of where we are just in our lives. I wanted to share this. This is not a good look, but this is out here happening. So this young lady, and this is alleged, but because we never saw this happen, but I believe her 100%. She's saying so she was definitely hospitalized. I'll show you the next slide. Someone hit her with a brick, and she's explaining in this clip. Oh man, this is hard to watch. That some man hit her with a brick, and she didn't do anything to him. He was asking her for her number, and she didn't give it to him, and he basically hit her with the brick. And then I'm going to go back to this other slide again, because she's saying all of these men behind her didn't do anything to come to her rescue. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess they were witnesses. I don't know if any of them were her friends or neighbors, or I don't know what the situation is, but apparently they let him get in the car. This is her side of it. Looks like they're in an alley somewhere. I don't know, but she got hit with a brick, and she was hospitalized. And so, first of all, what are your thoughts on that?
Damn, she really do look like she got hit with something. Like, that's crazy. So I did see that her video, and then I saw a video from some of the guys. So one of them said that they did try to help, but they, a lot of people were going on talking about how, like, I want to know, like, there's a whole bunch of things to unpack here. First of all, there's more than one way to help somebody. You don't have to always jump in. And I know that's something that is kind of questionable these days. Like, should I help or should I not help? Because a lot of times things have happened to people for jumping in and helping somebody, with something or whatever. But it's like, I'm just thinking about the time that it took for him to pick up the rock and do what he did. Like, nobody, if he pulled out a gun, would they have done the same thing? Would they stood there and watched? Like, I feel like it's also about safety of self too. Like, if he's doing that to her, is he wilding out, or are we all in danger? Like, were they thinking that he was dangerous and they didn't approach him? Like, I don't know what was going on before the camera started, like before she got on there and said that, but like, nobody should be putting their hands on anybody, let alone hitting them with a brick. If that's crazy. And I feel like, that shit must have swelled up immediately. I'm surprised she didn't, like, he didn't knock her out with the brick, because like, that is just unheard of. But this is something that is a catch-22, because it's like, on one hand, they're pulling out the videos of her. She was doing skits where she was going around slapping white men or whatever. And people saying that she's disrespectful and stuff like that. But on the other hand, it's like, if the dude that she slapped in the skit wasn't the dude that hit her with the brick, that's null and void. Like, we're talking about whatever happened this night. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, no cameras caught what happened, and they just let him drive off, and nobody like called the police or nothing like that. That's just was odd to me. But she does have a GoFundMe, and apparently she does is doing really good. But I don't really know. Like I'm the type of person that I try not to get into it with dudes. You know what I mean? Because I don't know where your head is at. I'm not trying to see if if I'm just on my way. Like I'm not. I don't even argue with dudes like that. So, but the thing that kind of sticks out in my head is that where were they at? What was going on? You know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's a really good point too, because if we go back, that's something that I just picked up on. I don't know where they were, but it looks like they were not in a public place necessarily. Like I see there's like gas station lights over there, but if she's saying that all of these people just witnessed this happen, I'm imagining that it happened in this setting, and I'm looking at a couple of dumpsters in the background, so it seems like it could be like an alleyway or something. I don't know, they could be coming out of like a club, or I don't know, but it just looks like it doesn't look like necessarily like a
I feel
place.
sorry for her because nobody wants to
I feel very bad for her.
Period. Let alone with a brick. No, thank you. No,
well, here's the other thing, because this is kind of is leads to a bigger point for me. I'm glad she made this video, because it's one of those things where I'm not going to say this happened to her because she was Black, but I do think that in other cultures, things like this, people don't get away with things as easily. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're not just going to, hit somebody and not have any consequences. And so that was interesting to me. And I want to share another thing, which was also
that is true. I'm sorry to cut you over. That is true.
Let me share this. Go ahead. I'm gonna talk about this, but go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm saying that is true. Like if you change the people, you change the outcome, because like even if you change the people that were standing around, you change the outcome. Like I used to have a bad habit of like trying to like break stuff up, but like if you think about it, the person who was trying to break it up is thinking that they're being neutral and they're going in trying to be like, oh, you guys shouldn't do this. But the people who are actually fighting they're not thinking about you, and you could get hurt or even, worse. Right. And so, and then, I mean, I think about it in the sense of, I used to tell my son, like, look, if somebody is having a domestic dispute, you can like call the police or do whatever, but do not ever take a request of, hey, go beat this person up because this, and it's a relationship thing, because 9 times out of 10 those people gonna be back together. You done got in it, and now you're an enemy. You done created an enemy over something that it wasn't your business. So like, I guess it just depends on the form of help you're gonna extend, because a lot of times the person doing that steps in, I mean, they get hurt. And so I can understand on one hand why people would be hesitant to step in and break it up, but I can't understand why nobody would at least be like calling the authorities when they see danger happening and stuff like that. So,
well, we do have a history in our community of people not Gwendolyn, of people not trusting the authorities, right? That's so true. I could see why somebody wouldn't have called the authorities, especially if who knows what they were out there doing in the alley.
Okay? I mean, yeah, but then I'm thinking about it in the sense of, if something was happening to me, I wouldn't necessarily want somebody to risk their life, but I would want them to alert somebody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could understand if the person didn't want to get involved because they don't know, like, this person they're doing something to you. You know what I mean? But that's just me as a woman. But I don't know. With men, it's a little bit different because, like, anything can happen. Like, I don't know them. I see what's going on, but I can't really figure out what to do because I want to go home too. You know what I mean?
Let me describe the protections that I would like to enjoy as a part of a society. That means anything that's happening to me could have happened to you. We're all kind of looking out for each other, making sure that, what's getting ready to happen? Let me just make sure nothing happens. I'm thinking that, like, just like if you see, like, I'm not saying that I'm going to ride or die and go jump somebody for some lady parked next to me at Target, but I'm thinking that, like, since we're all a part of the public, of the community, that, like, like I can count on you to be a witness for me, and if I can count on you to be a witness for me, then we're all kind of going to make sure we get to our, to our destination safe. Like we're all a part of the same clique right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm going to fight, but I'm not going to let somebody like abduct you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like.
Listen, I had a situation at the gas station one time where some dude was like, "Hey, such and such, it's me, Tony," or something like that. And I was just like, "Nigga, I do not know you." And I just kept minding my business. But when I got in my car, I seen these other girls on the other side. And I was like, all right, let me just sit right here to make sure that he's not trying to do nothing to them. I didn't put myself in it. But I was aware to be able to call somebody if I needed to. But when I think of it in terms of like men that are in our family and stuff like that, would I want them to get into somebody else's situation and then be met with something else, right? No. Like, so my point is like, there is a thing of women being protected, and all men are not like that. All men are not like that, especially if they've already judged what kind of person they think you are. So you can't really rely on, if something happens to me when I walk in the store, the men are going to take care of it. The men in my family definitely will. But then would I want them to intervene in somebody else's situation where, unbeknownst to us, they could possibly lose their life? You know what I mean? So it's
right, for sure,
of how crazy the world is. But I think at the end of the day, a call to the authorities is if somebody's holding a weapon, like he could have been holding a gun. You know what I mean? Like,
this is what I wanted to call out, because Blondie just said that. She said people have gotten killed while helping someone call the police. I think that's fair. I think especially if you're witnessing someone, I don't know if she called the police. That was her next question. If you're witnessing someone go through something that you wouldn't want your family member or friend, or that you wouldn't want to go through happen, then you'll, do what you can to make sure that they're not,
but that it all goes back to how you view stuff too, because it's a lot of people out here that just, it's not their business and they would have just kept moving. But like I said, this is going to be like a controversial topic because, one, like the thing that you have on the screen, things like that happen. Like I even remember one of my friends getting an egg thrown at her because she didn't want to talk to a dude. That could have easily have been a bullet. You know what I mean? Like people do get upset when when they're I guess advancing and you don't let them advance. Depending, and it could be a whole range of situations. You could be as nice as you want to be, and if a person takes offense to it, then you're in that situation. So it's but I mean, it's like where's
the line? So let me go on this side.
I don't know. Like I'm not.
Let me go on this side.
Fight, but I'm not gonna just act like I didn't see what was happening. I don't know.
Let me go on this side just to confuse us further and get all the way in the middle of this, because I do have a point at the end of this. This young lady has shared a recording of some man following her from the store. So she says in the video that he followed her around the store. And when I first looked at it, I thought they were together because they were so close, and she got the camera. If you know how like you're gonna record something and your camera's up and you can see the person in your phone, but you can't really see what they're doing. It's like you could see them in your phone, but if they were to lunge at you, it would be too late. You know what I mean? So I was really.
and it is shocking to see somebody in your phone that ain't supposed to be that close. Like, wait, what's happening?
Like what? So she was making this recording, and the comments was what got me to send this to you, because people in the comments were like, he's doing that because you're smiling and joking and whatever. So, okay, let me set the scene a little better. So she's saying that this man has followed her, and she was kind of like laughing it off, like, sir, whatever, like, I'm about to get in my car and you don't need to be following me and da da da. So then she goes to open her door, and he runs around to the passenger side like he about to get in. She was like, you are not about to get in my car. So she's like, sir, I'm recording you, like, you can't do that, da da da. And he said, delete that recording or I'm gonna break your phone. Woo! I said, what?
I think that she probably thought when she pulled that phone out, most people would be like, oh, let me stop doing this weird shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, check this out. Then she proceeds to say, well, if you break my phone, then all these witnesses are going to see you. But then it made me think of the other video that I had sent you. And I was like, and do what? They're not going to do anything. He's going to break her phone and hit her with a brick in the face. And he's going to get away with it. Or he's going to get in her car, because nobody cares about what happens to people anymore, especially not black women. This is what I thought to myself. I'm not saying that this is my stance. I'm just saying
because it's not
how it feels.
the thing is, it's not all black men or all men as a whole, right? Because we know a lot of men who they will protect regardless of what's going on, no matter how tired they are or whatever, they're gonna protect, right? But then you have some that don't. So it's and it's all shaking up like a mixed bag of Skittles out into the world. You never know who's in there. Like, I mean, sad to say, if I was going somewhere and there's a whole bunch of men, I'm not gonna automatically think that, oh, if something goes down, I'm protected. I honestly, in this day and age, would have to be making sure that you're not going to do anything to me, unfortunately.
Here's what my point was. Now, when you said that, it did make me realize that we are surrounded by a lot of good men who I know for a fact that if I were to go out with any people that I currently, like, not even currently, like anybody in our lives over the past like 20 years that we've been rocking with, or any of our family members, like, nothing's going to happen to us. But everybody doesn't have that, and we're not always around those people. But it is a luxury to be able to say that, because in some ways, like, you just always have to be looking out for yourself. And so that's what I was noticing when I was watching this. And though I wasn't judging her, I was concerned.
I mean, but people's reactions can be nervousness or whatever. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, what is going on? And like I said, a person would think that if I pull out this camera and I've alerted you that you're being recorded, you're going to stop doing what you're doing he was, I don't know. Mocha said that's why you have to have a blicky, especially if you live in the southern states, or some alcohol and a lighter.
Ooh. That's a Molotov cocktail.
It was in a scary, vulnerable situation. Like, but that's the thing, because these things, this is happening to her, right? And there's a whole bunch of women who it's happened to, because there's some real life in this, and we all know somebody who this has happened to, like, or something weird's happened to. Like, I told you about that time I was in the grocery store and I felt like I was being followed. Because if I go somewhere in a grocery store and you pop up everywhere I'm at, that's weird. Like, sometimes it's a coincidence, but like everywhere, every aisle I'm in, you're in. Let me get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I do, which is so odd.
What?
So this actually happened to me recently, where I felt like I saw somebody. They were too close to me. I'd seen them downstairs. This was at the Metro. I seen them downstairs, and then I saw them upstairs, and they were way too close to me. And so I just turned around and was like, "Hi, how are you?" And he didn't say anything to me. But then when we got up to the platform, he moved, because I guess I made him uncomfortable.
You probably looked him dead in his face. Like, I do that same thing.
Because hi, how are you?
You this close to me. We about to speak, and I'm about to see what the fuck you look like, and what are you doing? What are you doing?
Sometimes people get it in their mind they're about to do something, and I don't know. I didn't know if he was that guy or not. I didn't want to assume that, but I was just like, hi.
That's the thing. You never know, and it's that one little time that you slipped that something crazy, happens or whatever. So, like I said, this is a real thing, because you just never know what mind state somebody's in when you encounter them. And while a regular person wouldn't be following anybody, he thinks it's okay. So
my point really in bringing this up, and then I had another one. I'm not even going to share this because it doesn't really have anything to do with one thing. One thing doesn't have to do with the other. Well, actually, I am going to share it because I thought it's funny. This man is actually a comedian, but he was showing how he was in a line with his daughter, and some kid came along and like tried to get in front of his daughter, and he gave him this look. And the guy backed off, but it's like, this is the protection, right? He didn't say anything to the kid. He just looked at him like, my daughter's
crazy that he never even looked up to see the dude. He just walked around the little girl. Now, I will say, some people do this. Some people just do this, and it'd be so baffling when they do it, because it'd be like, I know you see me standing right here.
Well, sometimes they don't. I don't know if that was the case, but he learned that day. And this is my point. This young girl. So here's what I feel like I definitely learned at a younger age, is that you have to speak up for yourself. You can't let anybody take advantage of you. You have to.
He had to walk around her.
Yeah, he had to walk around her, and then he's like, he didn't even see her. Now, I do understand that at that age, he looks like he's about to be like, maybe he's like 14, 15. Like, look, he probably ain't think about nobody himself. But this is the point. There's a man right there that caught his attention. He didn't see that young girl, but he saw that man. He saw how that man looked at him, and he thought again. about what he was getting ready to do. He's like, oh, I should back up now. He didn't think that before he got this look.
There's grown people that do that. There is a sense of entitlement in some people that do that. Like they literally see you but don't see you because they don't feel like they have to see you. And he did learn that day. Like he literally had to walk around her, move his arms so he wouldn't hit her while he was walking up there. Like, but the sheer gall that you have to walk in front of anybody that you know you're not in front of is every time it happens to me, because it's happened to me a couple of times in a couple of situations, and I be literally looking like, are you serious? Because I know you saw all of us standing here or whatever, but you know, listen, I like that. I like that.
I wanted to bring that up.
But that's at the same time, like I'm saying, like he's protecting his daughter, right? I guess it's his daughter. He's protecting his daughter. That's probably like an instinct. And he's probably one of those dudes that protect people, but sometimes there's people that just stand there and don't do anything. Like it just depends on the situation. But
and like clearly these are so different like of situations, but I'm making this a point because I realized that like some of us have had to take up for ourselves, not even necessarily physically, but like verbally, in the workplace, on the playground, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to knock me around. You're not going to cut over me. You're not going to make fun of me. Like, there's certain things that you just learn to do for yourself and how to live. And those things, especially as a woman, can make you, turn out to be sort of like considered more like a masculine type of person. But it's just like, look, I had to do what I had to do. Okay. Grew up in the hood, had to walk to school by myself, or had to do this or had to do that, had to make sure that wasn't nobody going to cut me off in line, had to make sure that wasn't nobody getting ready to dirty dozens me on the bus. No, let me tell you about yourself, okay? Like, learn how to do that real quick. Because at first, I don't know if you remember this, but like, you remember when you would ride the bus, because I wouldn't ride your bus, obviously, we were on a different bus, but like, I remember the thought clicking in, maybe in the 6th grade, like, oh, they're making fun of me. Well, I've got some jokes. And I remember the first time that like I came back with my jokes and the crowd started laughing, and I was like, oh, funnier than you, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And it's like one of those things. It's one of those things that happen that's like, I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm not gonna let you get in front of me in line. Hey, ma'am. No, we're right here. Right? And that can, over years, it can.
I mean, but listen, because some people, like I said, they know what they're doing, but they're banking on you not saying anything.
Yes.
Because the majority of people don't say nothing, but yeah.
That's my point. So it kind of is going to bring us into the next point a little bit, because we're going to talk about Ready to Love. But this is a situation where, my heart goes out to that lady that got hit in the face with that brick. I want to keep us on notice that like, we can't let things like that happen to us. Like, we can't be so, I don't know how that happened. I'm not blaming her. This is not no victim blaming stuff, but I just want to put everybody else on notice of like, we just can't let people that close to us sometimes, especially in situations where we don't know people. People are out here, they're capable of doing things like that. Sometimes you just can't get away from it, but it's like, sometimes you can kind of look at your surroundings. Like that second lady, I hope everything happened okay with her, but like, he shouldn't have never gotten that close to her. And I hope that other people see these things happening and they think twice about like what other people are capable of. But also, I just want people who are like in this, whatever they call it, red pill, whatever community, and talking about women who, oh, well, she gonna have to submit, or she's so whatever. And like, we can ready to get into this Ready to Love conversation too. But like, when a woman has to do what she has to do, especially for several years and decades, yeah, there's a sense of independence that like I've had to look out for myself and mine for years, for decades. And so it's not something that I can just turn off, right? Like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I have to make sure things are right. And I've been doing this for so long that there is a quality of me that is not necessarily, so I don't know what to call it. I wouldn't even call it feminine, to be honest with you. It's like, look, if you know that you got to look out for yourself and your family, you're going to build a layer of discernment, of protection. And if you cannot rely on anybody else but yourself, then that's just what happens. That's just what happens. So that's where I have to go with that.
Yeah, that is a thing, because if if you work at a job for a long time, you're gonna pick up some traits from your job, like, oh, and so doing that, handling your business and stuff like that, and being the only one to do it, it does have like this hard connotation to it when it comes to men and women, because they want you to step back for certain things or whatever. So, like, I don't know what they be talking about when they be saying that, thinking that it's just gonna happen like that, and not really taking into consideration why is she like this. You know what I mean? And part of the reason, another part of the reason could be like shit like this, like motherfuckers let people get hit in the face with bricks and they don't do nothing. But it's like also an element of the men needing to check their men as well. Now, I don't know what happened at the thing, and I don't know what kind of climate it was as far as if they knew this dude or what. But it could have been something like that too. Like they were afraid to approach the dude. Like, it could have been so many things. But you're right. Like that is something that actually happens, especially if a person has been on their own and doing it. Like there's gonna be some abrasiveness there. Not even just abrasiveness, not even abrasiveness, but it's gonna be some similar qualities to what you do in your own life when you take care of your own shit as a man, because there's not one here. You know what I'm saying? So,
and it's interesting because women go through a whole bunch of stuff because of the way that look, I think it was Dave Chappelle who said it. So many others probably have said it too, but it's like you're walking around with a part that men are after, and it's like you can't necessarily protect yourself in a way. Like men, people get raped, people get assaulted. It's like you're walking around with a very valuable thing, and and you could just get attacked for no reason. And so, I'm saying all that to say
that's a fact. That's a fact. Like depending on where you are too, somebody just has to have a thought and the opportunity to do it, and you don't know what that is going to look like. So that's why it's very important, since we're talking about this. I see Blondie say she always has her mace with her. I think that we all need to be diligent in protecting ourselves. When we go out, because there's so many things that are happening now as far as like this traffic and stuff, and just like shit. Period. So we do have to pay attention to where we are, what's going on, because at the same time, I don't think you gonna have to hit me with a brick because I wasn't looking, because I'm out. I'm out. As soon as I see you reaching for anything, I'm gone. So that I don't know.
We're from a different place, though, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know where that lady is from. I'm not trying to judge nobody or say anything like that. I definitely am not into victim shaming, but I just feel like I'm probably so skeptical of people. Like, it would be hard to get me in that situation, just because, like, I'm always looking at what's happening, and I don't know. It's not even like nobody could pick up a brick and get next to me, but it's just like
it's not that, but it's just like I don't know.
I don't know either, and I don't want to say anything.
I just feel like he did not just pick up the brick and not show any other signs of being crazy. That's all I think. But it's some part too is like sometimes when something happens to you or something is happening to you, you think that you're just going to do one thing. Like I'm just about to tell this dude about himself, or I'm about to whatever. And it turns into something else because you don't know what you're dealing with, So that's why I say, protect yourself. Like you just said, you walking around as a woman, all it takes is the opportunity if somebody has that click in their mind to do something, and you just have to be mindful of where you at. It's and you can't stop everything, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know, but I don't know. Like like I said, I understand some, multiple points of views of this. But I really don't think that whatever she was doing has anything to do with this. Like whatever she was doing on her TikTok, I think that as a human, anybody, if I see anybody getting hit with a brick, I would be like, oh my God, stop that person or call the police. What are they doing? Because the next, it's only going to get worse from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it could have been something worse than that brick.
It could have been something worse than
that. That would put everybody in
worse of a consequence. So it's like, I don't fault her for getting hit, but it's like we got to just be majorly around, like we have to be majorly aware of our surroundings and what's happening around us, because hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody else.
People are crazy. Okay.
People are capable of so many things, and like we see all of these like shootings happening, and some of those things are just unavoidable. But like I just hope, I hope she heals well. It looked like in that last slide there that she had, the swelling had gone down. I am glad that she put that clip up though, because it just reminds people that you got to be on your toes out here. But also, I wanted to put those three stories together because we all heard about the line about, from Malcolm X, like the most unprotected woman is a Black woman, right? And it's just, we get into these conversations, and I'm not saying that they are directly connected, but what I am saying is that we get into these situations, and like I watched this Dear Future Wifey podcast with Chris from Ready to Love and his sister, and they talked about Nigerian weddings and how many steps there are to like approving someone into their community, which is a very interesting thing to me. But like the vetting process and having to go to like, I forgot what she called it, like the king something, right, like of their village or something like that. Like so many people have to get approved. Like a person that you're dating or want to bring into your family has to be approved by so many people before you can take them as a husband or wife. And the way that they explained it, it was fascinating to me. It makes a lot of sense, but it also opened my eyes to like how Chris is and what he was talking about when he talked about how he needed a softer person or somebody who was not, or whatever. I guess I don't know what he called Jessica, but he basically was saying that she was not quiet. Like apparently she was loud or she was too aggressive or something like that, and he needed someone to be more submissive. And I just wanted to say, like, those 2 or 3 stories kind of put me into a mindset of like, well, that sounds great, right? Like I'd love to be some damsel for your taking. However, I've been out in these streets for the last 35 years making sure that I don't get bricked. And I don't think that I can just turn that off. And also, I need you to understand that, like, I can be that, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody like Jessica, I feel like could be softer. Like, 'cause I know I got softer once I understood like what I had and what protections that I could enjoy. But it's like coming out of a dating situation into a relationship is a process.
And I was about to say, you're not going to just overnight be like that. And the person who gets with somebody like that will have to have that understanding to help the person make the transition, because it's just like, yeah, I've been standing up for 12 hours a day for 10 years, and now I don't know how to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, but I watched that. Blondie said she watched it too. It was quite interesting. Yeah, I watched half of that. It was interesting. I like his sister. She, she seems like she has a good personality. Mocha said the word he used was combative.
Combative. Thank you.
So you saying watching this on Dear Future Wifey, watching Chris and his sister on there, you have a better insight of how he was with this process, or how he is?
I do. I have a better insight as to who he is. Like he's a little bit of a jokester. It's kind of funny. He's funny. He talked to his sister funny, but also I do know in their culture that they're just really honest. So some of the things that I thought might have been jokes were probably jokes, but they were probably true. But also I appreciated like the insight into the Nigerian culture about like how they get to the wedding. And they talked about their mom and about how she actually was a single mom, right? Like she didn't obviously start out as a single mom, but then she became a single mom, and then she had to be the head of the household. So they were talking about how she had some traits that were not necessarily like, unlike Jessica. And so, but what I got, they never said this explicitly, but what I understood was that his sister, and I cannot remember her name right now, what his is it
I can't remember
I
either.
can't remember her name right now, but
she's very well spoken though.
Oh, I love them together. At first, I was like, when you first sent me the clip, I was like, he's in a relationship already. Golly, the show ain't even finished airing. But then I realized, like, oh, that's his sister. So, but what I recognize is that I think he might be sort of like, I don't say
her arms. Sis
hello, look, I ain't messing with her.
She's working out.
But you know, it seemed like you know, he's in shape, she's in shape. Like I think that's a part of their whole deal, because she said something about that too, like about how you know, their other brothers and sisters and their wives and husbands and stuff like that are like all about the fit life. So that was cool. But also, what I picked up, and nobody said this explicitly, I feel like Chris is not like so loud, and I feel like he's a little bit more soft spoken than he might let on, and for that reason, he wants somebody to be submissive. Like he's not necessarily going to speak up for himself and speak over someone. I don't say he's not going to speak up for himself, but he's not going to speak over someone because that's not naturally the way he is. But in their culture, and in many cultures, I mean, you know, he wants to make sure that he's like the head of the household. Doesn't mean that he's running everything, but it just means that, look, and here's the thing that I think that I overlooked while I was watching the show is like, this is a man who has made a life for himself, right? I did know that he was not from America, or like his culture is, you know, he was from Africa, but he's come here. He's made a life for himself. He's very successful. He's funny. He's attractive. He's got a plan. You're not just out here like riding the streets trying to get some McDonald's with him. Like he's bringing a lot to the table. And so he's worth a look. He's worth a look at like, oh, okay, well, what are your, you know, I'm saying like, what are your needs and requirements? Like, let's have a conversation about that. So I don't think he's like a throwaway by any means, but I just think that it's interesting that, you know, in dating sometimes, and a lot of them pointed this out, that like the show is kind of like a faster paced scenario of, and all at once, of like what you should be looking for when you're dating. So even if you come away with the show without like sort of a lead mate or like someone you're interested in, you find out a lot about yourself. And one of the things that I realized is that like a lot of times in dating, people are looking for a ready-made, like someone that's made for me right away. Like, oh, I should be able to fit like a glove right up, you know what I'm saying? Like you're kind of interviewing someone to come right in and start work today. But it's like, no, it's not like you need training. I don't want to say training, but it's like dating is to get to know someone, to see if you could actually compromise, to come to you know, like can we fit? It's not like you gotta change yourself, but it's like, I didn't see, you know, honestly, the way that he came off to me in this interview, it does kind of fit with what I got out of him from the show, which is that I didn't really get that much from him at first. It was just like, well, who are you? And like, why should we be looking at you? Why are you a catch? I still didn't see that all the way until I like watched this whole interview and stuff. But I mean, like, I still could see that he's a catch. He's like a nice looking man. He's, you know, well-to-do. He's a nice dressed person, but I didn't understand a lot of.
Yeah, because we learned on the first episode that he was a prince or something, right?
I did not even catch that. I may have, but I may have forgotten.
In the first episode, he said that he was maybe, I don't know why I said he was a Nigerian prince. Maybe he didn't say those words, but I felt like that's what he said in the first episode when we first met Chris. But I got to go back and watch it.
Well, he comes with a whole village, y'all, and he's got a support system. Look, he got a support system. That support system should get him sold. Now, he doesn't have any problems. Like, I feel like he didn't have no problems meeting nobody. I don't know. Sometimes when people come on these shows, I almost feel like it's like their first go-to. Sometimes when you just wait, I sent you this video. I think, you know, I sent you a lot of stuff on Instagram, so no hate or shade to you, but like, there's a funny video of this dude acting like he was just coming into like consciousness at 5. Like whenever you first realize like, all these people are children, it's just like, well, you're 6, so sit down and have a cupcake.
Yeah, okay. So let me say something about the Instagrams real quick. I do need to go on there and look at all of those because I have not gone on there today at all. So I need to, like, I went on there for a couple of things, but I I need to check my messages. So.
Look, sometimes I sit there on the couch and it'd be 2 hours to go by and I've just been scrolling.
Oh Lord.
I mean, it's really sad. Like I have to get. That's why sometimes I spend a couple of days like, nope, my phone's over there, and if someone needs me, they'll call me. Like because I go through these situations where like sometimes I'll sit there for 2 hours and I'll look and it's like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I'm fine. It's 8 a.m.
And it'll be like 10:30.
I'm like, oh my god. So one of the things me and James do is like if we see the other one sitting over there on their phone and then we come back 30 minutes later and they're still there, it's just like, come out of there. I'm coming in to get you. Give me that phone because you could get sucked in, especially when
it is a time suck. Yeah, it is a time.
Oh my god.
Depending on what you're scrolling on, yeah. I mean,
but look, I no hate or shade or anything to you because I know I send a lot of stuff, but I've realized this guy had sent this one post talking about like when you first come into consciousness as like a 5 or 6 year old and you realize like, oh, what is the meaning of life? Like, this one person left a really weird comment. I'm gonna resend you this because it's a hilarious post. But the person under the thing left a really weird comment. Like, I came into consciousness when I was 3 and I remember it very vividly. And I'm imagining this is like an adult, like a 30-something-year-old. And they were like, it was nighttime and my mom and I was in my crib and my mom was just like doing things in the background. And I looked outside the window and I saw the moon. And I remember my first thought was, that's not the sun. I was like, dude, what are you talking? Like, this is the internet. Like, it was so deep and creepy. I was just like, okay, I got to get off this. But I do understand that, like, when you come into consciousness, it's the same thing sometimes when you come into consciousness in a relationship or in a different part of your life. Like, sometimes you just look up and you're like, oh my God, I've been working so hard for these last few years. I actually got what I was looking for. And now I'm, now I'm here and this is great. Like sometimes you just head down so hard that you don't even realize, right? But I feel like with Chris, I didn't get to understand like who he was really. And I think some of these people come to these shows and I have a perception of like, oh, they must have already been dating for a long time and now they've come to this show as a last resort. But in reality, it's like some of these men are just like, you know what, I'm ready to find a wife now. I'm gonna just go on the show. And it's just like, oh, the show is just there for you. Like, so it's like, even the one girl like Dakia from a few shows back, I was like, how is she not hemmed up, right? And I think it's because I remember watching the show thinking like, you're in DC, like you have all of these things going for you. You're a nice looking woman, you're pretty, you're like kind, you have a couple of other interests like dance and all of this. Like, how has someone not tried to whatever? And then I realized like sometimes people just don't know that you're looking, and I think that's really what it is. Like, you come out of a stream of dating into a stream of consciousness of like, you know what? I'd like to get married now. And
I mean, because that's funny because if you think about it, if you haven't been dating for a while, you don't got no numbers in your phone. So right. It's like people don't know that you're looking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're right about that. Blondie says, in relation to Chris, it would be too much for me. It seems like his family would be all up in my business. Most of us like our privacy. Yeah, and honestly, the thing that sticks out about Chris to me, or that gave me pause and just I would like to have more information on, is the ex. The ex. What she said was very, very specific, and I would like to know more about that because I think that is probably the reason why, he's that servitude. That word was just like, dude,
yeah, like tell me more. I really did want to know more from her, like how their relationship ended and all that stuff. But I do think she said something about maybe he wasn't ready to get married or something like that. But you just never know. He seems like a good catch. If he's looking for someone now, you're right, Blondie. He got a whole situation that come with him. It's sometimes you get into a situation where it's just like you're not just marrying the person. It's just like, imagine, I'm not comparing them to this, but it's just the first thing that came to mind. Imagine like dating a Kardashian. It's just like you about to have 17 people in your business and it's going to be filmed. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want all that? No. I'll go see what this Chris guy's about. No, he's not. Like, you literally have to decide because that's what he comes with. And I think there's some benefits to being in a situation like that, you know, where you have a support system. But yeah, everybody's going to be in your business. They're going to know stuff before your man get home from work. He done told all your business to the village.
That's wild.
Yeah. So anyway,
I gotta finish the interview, but so I'm sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. Well, that's really all I had to say. I didn't see no other interviews this week. I know there's some happening
either, but so we got the getaway next weekend, right? I mean, not next weekend. Why I keep saying that? Tomorrow is the getaway. So we're gonna see who goes home. Who Chris was talking to when he was like cussing, which I think we already know.
I think it was Jessica.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's Jessica. We think what Sierra and Chris go home this episode. We'll see what happens because somebody got to get cut at the beginning.
I think Sierra's probably gonna go. I don't know. I gotta see. I think Sierra's gonna go because it seemed like she was ready to go anyway. It seemed like she was like, well, if you're going to send me home, send me home. But I still don't really understand why Maurier is there. So we'll see what happens. Like, if Sierra goes, then Maurier has to go too.
I don't know, because why wouldn't they let her self-eliminate if they were going to send her home? So I can't wait to see what happens. We're going to be here tomorrow after the show to talk about it, okay?
I'm so excited.
So, yeah, this is going to be episode 9, I think? This is 8 or 9. I can't remember.
I don't even know.
But so we you know what, before we get off here, I want to give some shout outs to our other channels, right? We have Is It Crazy or Is It God? And that's where my lovely sister and my brother, they do a podcast, and it's really good. They go through the Bible and they talk about things like that. So I put it in the description below. If y'all aren't following her on that and you are interested, definitely click that link. Also, I wanted to talk about Relationship Entertainment Television.
Yes.
That is a network that is a Black network here on YouTube where they have a couple of different shows. Entrepreneur Insider, The Millionaire Man Cave. I wonder if Women's Champ is coming back. But I also have...
What's going on?
Oh, what's going on? Okay, that link is in the description below. And if you want to know a little bit about what's going on, it's kind of what I do in regular life in here. I like to share Black businesses. And so every week I'm highlighting a Black entrepreneur. I also look for stories of good things that happen to us and our people. Like, it could be a celebrity, it could be a regular person on the street, it could be your cousin who wrote a book that helped kids, whatever. It could be any of that. So I try to talk about those stories. And then I also do something called Yay or Nay, because the internet is crazy and you never know what you might see on the internet. Okay, so I go through Instagram and I save things that make me either laugh out loud uncontrollably, or especially things that make me say WTF. Like, I gotta save this and talk about it with somebody else. So that segment is called Yay or Nay. But definitely check out Relationship Entertainment Television. And also, the last thing I want to say, I was trying to find fourth quarter's page, but for some reason when I search it, I cannot find it. So you're gonna have to come back and put it.
I will definitely put it in the comments. Because it's kind of hard to find because it's like fourth QTR. So
you have to come back and put it in the comments after we end, so that anybody can comes to this video be able to find it. Because fourth quarter is a sports podcast. They talk about the NFL draft. They talk about all things sports all throughout the year. They even cover the Sweet 16, I believe. So definitely check them out. She's gonna put the link in the comments. She's going to link their page in the comments when we get off of here. And then the last thing I want to say is, if you need help starting a workout plan, I ain't talking about somebody who works out 4 or 5 days a week already. If you need help getting started, then I'm your girl. I need you to check out my YouTube page, by Demita Joe. We're going to have weekly workouts. We're going to work on that mindset a little bit. I'm even going to try to go into the kitchen a little bit and let you guys see some of the stuff that I be eating to make sure that I maintain, what's the word I want to use? That I maintain my appetite, meaning I'm not over here starving, you know what I mean? But we also not over here like eating everything. But I'm going to talk about food and stuff like that too. So if that's you and you're a woman, especially a woman over 40, check out By Demita Joe. I'm also going to be starting a Patreon where we're going to have weekly workouts and a lot of other behind the scenes stuff that has to do with mindset and nutrition. But I'll give you guys more on that later. But anyway, I just want to thank you all for watching us and sitting here and listening to us talk about all these things, even though we started out about email earlier, which everybody probably was like, what are you talking about? But shout out to y'all. Shout out to Mocha Mima Media. Y'all need to check her out because she does excellent hot topics. Blondie Monique, good to see you. And Gwendolyn Beatty was also here. And of course, Fourth Quarter. Anybody else that comes across this video, like, share, and subscribe. Sis, what's your last words?
I just had a great time with y'all. I can't wait for y'all to see. I just put it in the chat. I just can't wait for y'all to see where we what we have to say tomorrow after tomorrow's show. That's all.
Yes. So we'll meet y'all back here tomorrow at 9:30. Peace, everybody.